other thing I wanted to bring up was what the reality is at the border, because I'm not gonna deny that there are people trying to come into the country, people who are seeking asylum. It is a complicated issue, it's a difficult issue, and no one has argued in favor of complete open borders, despite what Republicans will tell you. But is the problem at the border as terrible, as bad, or as historical as Republicans would have you believe? Well, I was curious about the numbers because you keep hearing over and over again this, the media regurgitating what Republicans say. Oh, yeah, there's been a surge, the migrant caravan, there's more people coming in, they don't know how to handle it. Okay, here are the real numbers. From the 1980s to the mid-2000s, apprehensions at the border routinely reached more than 1 million migrants a year. Today, they are at nearly historical lows. In the fiscal year that ended in September, border authorities apprehended 521,090 people. So about half the number. Look, and I'm not saying that to make it seem as though 500,000 people trying to go through the country or enter the country illegally is a small amount of people. But this isn't like some giant, surge as our politicians would have you believe.
Yeah, it's in what you choose to emphasize. That's where the bias comes in. So you can say, hey, MS-13 did some grisly murders. Well, that's certainly true. But what they don't tell you is the Aryan Brotherhood in this country is twice as big as MS-13. But we never talk about the murders they committed. We never talk about the torture that they do. Why? Because politicians have decided to focus on MS-13 for their political purposes, the demagogue. And they've decided not to focus on the horrible crimes that other gangs commit that don't serve their political purposes. And same thing in this case with the numbers. So they say 521,000 people, that's unbelievable. They don't give you the context that it used to be over 1 million, that the numbers are going down every day. They make it seem like it's a resurgent problem, as Anna pointed out, when in reality it is a dwindling problem. It doesn't mean that it's not a problem, but it doesn't require some sort of national emergency with poorly planned processes and draconian actions like ripping kids away from their family members and then keeping them in detention under Border Patrol for so long that some of them have started dying in those detention facilities now. So, and in an emergency, those kind of drastic actions might seem more appropriate or understandable. But we don't have an emergency. We have a situation that's actually getting better every year, and well before Trump came into office. So that context is super important and what is missing from so much of the media coverage.
Exactly, so don't let the people in positions of power convince you of problems that don't exist, right? And I feel like that keeps happening and the media buys into it hook, line, and sinker. And it drives me crazy. Just do some fact checking, look into the numbers, right? Again, 500,000 people is not a small amount of people, but when you look at that number relative to what we've seen historically, then anyone who tells you that the problem is worse now than it's ever been is lying to you. That's the point that I'm trying to make.
Like what you see? Click the subscribe button below and don't forget to ring the bell to never miss another video from the Young Turks.